This is a Human Collective podcast. This is episode 5.
We succeeded in extending the human sight far beyond the horizon. It's not even human.
Hello humans, this is a Human Collective podcast with me, Ross Taylor. For 30 minutes each week, I'll be chatting to my friends in arguably the weirdest industry on planet Earth, TV and film. This week, I was joined by my friend, filmmaker and assistant producer, Finlay McGovern. Caitlin finished her film degree at Queen's University and soon after was selected for NI Screen's Aim High television scheme. Since then, she's been working solidly for 3 years and has managed to return back to work as an assistant producer on long-time local BBC series Home Ground. I also wanted to mention that I stated a statistic incorrectly on mental health from a survey taken from the TV and film charity in February. I stated it as 93%, but it is in fact 87%. Just in the nature of podcasting sometimes really, but I just wanted to clarify that for you guys. Still very shocking to hear nonetheless, so definitely tune in for it. Catching up with Caitlin was great crack, and as always I picked her brain for a little bit before having a good old laugh about the absurdities of our industry. Enjoy! Caitlin! Another Zoom call.
Hello. Hiya, how are you?
Good man. Yeah, it's been a wee while since I've seen you. First of all, thanks for coming onto the podcast. It's great to get another one of my buddies to check in with. Because I think nowadays it's easy to kind of get bogged down with everything that's going on in the four walls of your house, and it's a great thing as well. But also it's nice to kind of check in with the likes of yourself.
Connected.
Yeah, exactly. So here, before this whole thing went down, what were you working on?
So I was working on a TV series called Home Ground. It's for BBC Northern Ireland. It's a rural affairs show based in Northern Ireland. I like to say that it's the poor man's version of Country File. Very wholesome, very good. So yeah, I was working on that with the company I'm with at the minute, and we were literally filming until basically they announced lockdown, because we had 4 episodes to go out. We had 2 fully finished. We were working on the 3rd, and then they were going to announce the lockdown on Monday, so we were filming on the Sunday trying to get it all done. So we got 3 out of 4 episodes complete, which was fantastic. But it was scary because we kind of didn't know what was happening, the kind of job security, the show security, where are you going with it. So that's where I was at the beginning of it, and then lockdown happened the Monday.
And were you able to avail of any of the sort of self-employment schemes or any of the furlough schemes or anything like that?
Yeah, well, I was really lucky. The company I'm with, I got put on the furlough scheme, so they were really great. Actually, they looked after us really, really well. So I was put on furlough, and then on the 1st of June, I went back to work. So I'm now working on the next series of Home Ground. So it was, on certain times at the beginning, but they looked after us, and I was lucky enough to be put on furlough.
Class, man. So at the minute then, so you're actually, you're one of the first of my friends actually to get back into TV. This is actually a pretty cool thing to see, like, because sometimes you look around and I'm kind of like, I just don't know like what's gonna happen here. All of these talented, amazing people that I know and work with, who are still all like kind of throwing their hands up in the air, going, "Look, I'm looking as well." And yeah, it's nice to see that there's a kind of way back for people. What does it look like now? What's the kind of? I know you're back to work. What does it look like?
Well, I'm back again working on Home Ground Series 9. So we're on to a brand new series, and it's looking positive for that series, but filming is a lot different, and there's a lot more consideration and a lot more kind of like red tape around things. You have to be careful with just checking in on everyone, making sure everyone's comfortable. Stories are harder to find because it's unscripted TV I work in, so we're always looking for people's stories, working with trusts and organizations, and a lot of that's not happening. So it's been tricky in that sense of just trying to find stories and contributors and making sure everyone's happy and comfortable. to film with us because, you know, we're not out of the shit yet. I know we can swear on this because I've listened to previous podcasts. But yeah, it's nice because I'm working and I've missed working, but you're also kind of looking, going, like, it's not back to normal and it's probably not going to be back to normal for a while. So it's been interesting adapting to the kind of the new normal.
Yeah, indeed. And I think I'm eventually going to have to stop talking about the coronavirus, because I think anyone who listens to this podcast are going to be like, fuck, here he goes about the bloody coronavirus again. But
I mean, it's relevant.
It is relevant, man. It is relevant. I'm also interested to know what kind of positives you were taking out of lockdown, because, you know, there's a lot of people had a lot of thoughts on... A lot of people I know have a lot of thoughts on their experience in lockdown. I know my family, like my dad was furloughed, and he's, you know, and he's 60, and I thought it was amazing to see him get back to the stuff he wants to do, which is essentially do handiwork around the house and just, you know, have time with the family, and, you know, like that kind of stuff was nice. So what was it like for you, and what kind of positives were you taking out of it?
I mean, I decided to come back to my family home. So during lockdown, I've been at home with the parents and the two siblings, and it was interesting to adapt at the beginning because I haven't been home for this long in so long. And, you know, like you're used to kind of running your own things and being in your own place. So at the beginning, I found it tough mentally, just, you know, kind of the limitations. But after a while, I kind of put things into perspective, and I was like, do you know what? I'm safe, I'm happy, I'm well, I'm with my family. I'm going to seize this moment. So I ended up reading more. I started running. I picked up like sewing. Like all these hobbies and things that you kind of were always like, oh, I don't have time for that. I'm too busy. I don't have time for that. I was making time for it, and I was making time for myself, and it was quite nice, and just connecting with family and, you know, reaching out to friends and doing Zoom calls and quizzes and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I try to make the best of a bad situation, and like it was tough, but you just gotta rock through it, and I think I did that quite well.
Good.
But I was lucky to have support to do that as well around me. So
yeah. I mean, it's fantastic to hear that. I think obviously it was nice that, you know, below the radar, we're looking after you well, and like that's a great thing to hear, that indies here we're making that effort over lockdown, because we'll never sort of forget this period, and it's nice to know who are the people who are looking after people. But also I think the life of a freelancer can be incredibly stressful, from a sense that obviously going from job to job, you're always thinking about the next 4 or 5 steps ahead. And what I kind of thought was, you know, eventually, like, I mean, I didn't qualify for any of the financial schemes, but I mean, I am now getting help from the government in terms of, you know, the universal credit and stuff, like everybody, like a lot of people are. And the kind of thought hit me. I was like, you know what? I'm used to, like, if I don't get work, then I don't get paid. And the fact that I can sit here in the house and I can be with my family or be with my girlfriend, and we can spend this time with each other, like, it really isn't going to happen like this again. And I intend to be a freelancer for a long time. So unless the world of freelancing changes dramatically, which it might need to, I'm probably not going to get this kind of time again. So I just leaned into it, man. And I really enjoy just, you know, I think like you're saying, you kind of veer towards, after a while, you kind of break the mold of being a freelancer, and you go back to just being yourself. And it's nice to kind of just get back to that once in a while, because it felt in a way like, you know, when you're a kid and you get that summer holiday and you just get a bit lost in your summer holiday, like in a way
it felt like being on summer holiday again. I'm at uni, this like work life, I'm not a proper adult, I am back to having a summer vacation, because that's the thing, when you're a freelancer, you're constantly looking ahead, you're working on the project you're on, you're doing your best to try and, you know, make the output great. So then that's there on your CV, you know, recommendations, and you're moving on and you're looking for the next job. So to kind of have that moment where you're just sitting in a way doing nothing, because TV stopped, there was nothing happening. You kind of, you're on it was a weird moment that we're not going to get again. And I think a lot of people had a chance as well to kind of look at their situation and the situation of being a freelancer in TV, and kind of hopefully we'll move on from that and things will change, because it was kind of a scary reality for a lot of people in a lot of jobs. Yeah,
man. I think, you know, the big thing for me was you just get a huge sense of perspective that if you can make it work properly, and whatever ways that it works for you, you know, you get a sense of perspective on the certain people who really, I mean, there's people, I'm following a lot of kind of Facebook groups where people are kind of expressing their frustration with being excluded from a lot of financial things. There are people who unfortunately don't get universal credit, they don't get any financial schemes, and my heart really goes out to them. And there's people who are, you know, who have kids and things like that. So like, you get perspective and you're like, you know what, I'm safe, I got a roof over my head, and if I've got those things, it's brilliant. I'm incredibly grateful for that. But yeah, I mean, it's a weird time, but I like to think that we'll all come back a little bit stronger than when we left it, you know.
Well, freelancers were resilient anyway, but it will be interesting to see kind of where it goes forward from here, with TV picking up more and more over the months. Yeah,
I think there's a massive question. That, you know, before lockdown happened, I cast my eye over a statistic on the TV and film charity, and they had a survey that's saying 93% of freelancers have experienced or have admitted to having a mental health problem in TV and film. And I thought like that was such a giant statistic, perspective wise. Like I was thinking like, oh my god, this is enormous, and could see a lot of reasons why that would be the case. And then the coronavirus hit, and that statistic stuck in my mind really strongly. I was like, this is an incredibly alarming statistic but prior to this whole thing happening. What is it like now? I mean, perhaps there are people who, like we've said, who have got that time to really focus on good things, but I can't help but think about the people who were, you know, at the core of that statistic, and who were experiencing the really hard realities of being a freelancer, you know,
struggling, and then it's just added to their struggle. And that's the thing, like you said, like I'm lucky I don't have, well, I want to word that better, I don't have children, I don't have big responsibilities like that. So, you know, while it was really hard for me at the beginning, and kind of that realization of I might not be employed, and I might not be employed for a long time, you kind of think about those people that have mortgages and have children and have those extra responsibilities, and then to be hit with a pandemic and that uncertainty. Like being a freelancer, it's uncertain anyway. Like we get told that at the beginning, you kind of expect it, but to have that then uncertainty amplified, like it's already a struggle as it is. So no, definitely you kind of think about, that's why I put things into perspective, because at the beginning I was totally freaking out, going, oh my god, like where do I go from here? Because, you know, furlough wasn't a thing at that point, job security wasn't a thing at that point, and luckily over time I've been lucky enough that I was put on the furlough scheme, and I'm now back working. But you kind of have to put things in perspective, and there's always someone there that's potentially struggling more than you. So 93% is high prior to a pandemic statistically with people struggling with mental health. So, you know, I can only see that increasing, which is worrying.
I think, you know, one of the things that I found that was really good about this experience is I could see a lot of people in our industry coming together, speaking to each other, reaching out to each other who never knew each other. And I thought there was a lot of really nice things, nice positives to take from the fact that there were people out there who were trying to make voiceless communities heard. People like Adrian Pegg and Mark Watson of the TV Water Cooler, who were both, you know, really gathering together as many surveys, as many voices and experiences together in order to get to the I think it was the Treasury that they were speaking to, and like they were constantly coming back with feedback from the BBC and a lot of people like, you know, who weren't getting funding from there, and all major broadcasters and what they were going to do about it. And things started to happen, and you know, those things aren't a coincidence. You know, they happen because people are speaking up about it, and that was a pretty cool thing I saw, that, you know, if we don't speak up for ourselves, that the machine will just move on, and we will get left behind, you know.
Definitely.
But okay, Caitlin, so I think this draws a conclusion to that conversation, but it moves swiftly on the topic of what's very relevant to this, which is escapism, okay? And
okay,
I have a segment that I think is perfect for this, because we've all done our best to try and escape from all the bullshit that's going on in the news, and everywhere we look there's so much horrible stuff going on. So I have been trawling through every network, every every TV app, every TV show. I've pretty much watched them all, but I'm dying to hear some new ones from you. So coming right up, guys, is Caitlin's top 3 lockdown classics. Okay, Caitlin, so starting with number 3, what is your third lockdown classic for us?
Okay, this might be a bit of a cheat. So I have 4 things, so I've decided to draw 2 as my third. So the third one would be, it's a bit of a throwback. It's a 2013 TV series, Hannibal. Did you ever watch Hannibal?
Yes, I did.
It's quite dark, right? That's the thing. It's quite dark, but it gets more positive. So I watched Hannibal when it first came out, and then it was one of those things where I forgot about it. And during lockdown, I was kind of revisiting shows that I didn't really finish. And I love Brian Fuller. So he did Pushing Daisies. If you ever watched Pushing Daisies, that was fantastic. So it was just kind of revisiting something. It's a little bit dark. It's based on Red Dragon, but it's just so beautifully filmed, and the acting's immense, and everything about it is just beautiful to watch, which is ironic to say when it's about something so dark. But I loved revisiting that. And then on the flip side, Afterlife Series 2 with Ricky Gervais.
Okay, this is your number 2, yeah.
So no, that's my joint 3. Can I do
joint
2?
3.
Is that okay?
Perfect,
okay.
Yeah, break the rules.
I can't
no
pick.
Caitlin.
So, I don't know.
Had to be you, didn't it? Had to be you breaking the rules. Troublemaker.
I know. So Afterlife as well, I loved the first series. Second series came out during lockdown too, and I binge watched that. It's about a man who's dealing with grief. He's lost his wife to cancer, and he's just decided to go F you to the world and do what he wants. But the character developments in that's really good, and kind of, seeing people at their best and their worst and looking after each other. So I thought that was really good. So my number 2, Queer Eye Series 5.
Epic.
Love Queer Eye. I know you're a fan as well. So boys back sprinkling their magic and just bringing joy to people's lives. Again, another feel good, something during lockdown that, when the world was going to shit, it was just great to see some positivity and wholesomeness. And they are just 5 good eggs going around spreading love and positivity.
Can I just say, the way you see casting pages or casting posters being put up on Facebook for TV shows and things like that?
Yeah.
I must say, if I ever got a sniff that there was a Queer Eye casting poster going around, I would be, hello, excuse me. Yep. No, it doesn't. I can't tell you what job I do right now, but I do want to be on your show because my life is in need of the Fab Five.
Please. I know. I just wreck my house on purpose just so they'd visit me, and I don't know. They're just brilliant. They're just so wholesome, and they just make such a change, and you need that. I think that's the thing. Bar Hannibal, a lot of what I was watching was kind of feel good, wholesome, nice content, warm content. And then my number 1 was something that I always revisit, but I'm revisiting again with my younger sister because she's never watched it. Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I haven't seen it.
Again. Oh, you've never seen it?
No.
No. Oh, it's so good. It's such a good show. 20 minutes. It's about a cop called Jake Peralta and just the 99 squad and just all their antics. And it's so well written. And as each series goes on, the character development's amazing. They're so relevant to the point where they were currently filming a new series. And then the Black Lives Matter happened, and the campaign and the protest and all the shit that's going on in the world in America. And they've scrapped the first 4 episodes because they want to make it more relevant to what's happening. And the social commentary for a comedy that's 20 minutes about an idiot of a cop, it is just so good. And they've got such great characters. They've got the boss of the precinct is a gay black man. They've got the sergeant who's a black guy that just loves yogurt. They've got Latina characters. They are so relevant, and they were ahead of the time when they started it, and they've just kept going with the social commentary and the importance. And it's also just wholesome and fun, and it's a really good show, and I love it. And you should watch it, Ross. I'm disappointed in you.
Okay, I should have watched it by now. But sure, at least if anything good can come from this, it's that I could start watching this. Sure.
I know, we binge it. I'm rewatching it for the 3rd or 4th time.
Wow.
It's just such a good series. And again, I think it's that thing of escapism. I was kind of escaping to places that I knew that felt safe and fun, but do make a difference. And I think definitely Queer Eye and Brooklyn Nine-Nine, good safe places.
Brilliant. I think those are great suggestions. And I'll allow the extra third option. I will say Afterlife is a fantastic series.
It's so good.
I couldn't agree more with you there. It's a great sort of what better time in our lives to say fuck it, I'm gonna do what I want than this time. So I'll absolutely endorse that one. And Queer Eye is awesome, and I will definitely give Brooklyn Nine-Nine a watch. Now, Caitlin, this is one of my favorite segments, and I know for sure from all the time that I've known you that you have a couple of weird stories for me in my mind, and I say every single podcast that I believe this is the weirdest industry on planet Earth. So can you help me prove this to my listeners, all 12 of them, by telling me a weird TV story, please?
Okay, weird TV story. So this was a few years ago, and it was like my first kind of proper job working on a low budget film, and I was a runner, and I kind of was doing lots of miscellaneous jobs, as you do as a runner, from, you know, picking up things and getting coffee, printing out stuff. But one of my jobs was to get props. So this was a film on teenage pregnancy, and me looking as I am, I look quite young. So I had to try to go to a health clinic to go some props, authentic props, but because it was low budget, we didn't have any money, so I was kind of like looking for anything and anything that I could get without having to pay money. So went to a health clinic. I'd rang ahead saying, you know, I'm working on a film, if you had any posters or leaflets or empty boxes of things that we could make the set more realistic, that would be great. So they told me to pop on by, but it was one of those things where you have to buzz in to get, you can't just walk in. It's more like kind of high security, which I get for some people go in there, that's important. So I buzzed in, they let me in, and I walked up and I was like, oh, hi there, I'm Caitlin, I'm doing that film on teenage pregnancy, and I'm here for some props. And the woman just looked at me, and she obviously thought I was lying. She was obviously like, you're not doing a film, you're here, you need, like, this is your way of basically coming in to try and get stuff. So she was like, do you want to come into my office? And I was like, no, I don't need, like, I'm here for like posters and leaflets. And she was like, do you want to come into my office? Come on into my office, sure, I'll get you sorted. So went in, Oakley was sitting in her office, and then she started kind of just chatting to me, being like, so how are you, and why are you here today? And I was like, oh, I'm here because, you know, I'm doing a film on pregnancy. And long story short, after a lot of weird questions and awkwardness, I got sent away with my leaflets, my posters, and a big box of condoms. So I was delighted. But it was so weird, because you find yourself in films in situations where people don't really get TV. So when you're coming in being like, oh, I need some props, like give me posters and stuff, they thought I was lying. And they probably were looking at me going, this is a 15-year-old child that's just coming in blagging away. Yeah. But I mean, I didn't go away empty-handed, but it was definitely one of the weirdest situations.
That's mental, man. I can almost see the perm in this woman's hair. And when you come in and you're like, I just need the stuff for this TV and film thing I'm doing, and she's like, oh God, love, would you just blink twice if you're in trouble, please? You know?
But you can talk to me, pet. Sure, I'll put the kettle on. And I was like, I don't need any reassurance or help. I'm okay. I just want leaflets. But it was the fact that the big box. I see I had leaving the clinic with a massive box of Durex condoms. I was just like, what is my life? I don't need this. And then when I appeared on set with all this big box, they were like, we asked for leaflets and posters, not an empty boxes. Empty boxes. These were not empty.
Oh man.
But what was great was I was also having to get a pregnancy kit too the same day, but luckily someone else got it, because that would have been too much. Too much. Because I nearly asked her for a pregnancy kit. So I was like, probably have pregnancy kits here too. But no.
Mate, that's mad. And something tells me, see, this is the thing about you though, that you have a way of getting into places that I just know that I wouldn't be able to get into. And I feel like if I went in, I might be coming out handcuffed. I feel like there might be a police call if I come in being like, yeah, I'm looking for all this stuff.
Right. Give me the link.
Yeah, they'd be like, yes, take it quick.
I know. I think sometimes being as small and as young looking as I am, it sometimes helps.
Yeah, man, absolutely. Well, here, it's something you use to your advantage, and it certainly helps. That's a fantastic weird TV story. You're further helping me prove that this is a very weird industry that we're in.
weird industry. It is.
Um,
I had to wrap my brains though for like a good one. I was like, there's a lot of weird stuff that's occurred.
do you have any others? I mean, you've got time if you want to hit me up with another one.
I don't know. I mean, my show that we work on, you end up doing recce's and visits and stuff. And there was a time that I was handed a rooster that I was then told was a gay rooster that got kicked out by the chickens he was supposed to be with because he wasn't doing his job properly. And he now lives with a bunch of alpacas. I mean,
Oh my god.
it's like little anecdote like that I'm just like, I love this job. And I was just holding this rooster that he'd stand in front of you and look up, and that would signal he was ready to be lifted. And then you'd lift him up. You just walk around the farm with him. So
Well, like, you know what, Caitlin? I say this every Sunday to my mum, but homophobia is rampant in the rooster trade. That's all I say.
I know, the poor pet getting kicked out by the D's. But he found love somewhere else. All the alpacas became friends with him, and he was happy enough. He was the king of the alpacas.
That's brilliant, man. That's a true. That's what Queer Eye gives us. It teaches us that we're all human beings, we're all animals, and we can all chill in the same circles if
Live
we
in
accept
harmony.
each other. Yeah.
Exactly. He was cute.
I feel like people might actually be able to take something away from this podcast, for once.
There you go. Living and learning.
I think we might have created a sort of an accidental gay icon here.
I know. The rooster. I think his name was Barry. Barry the Rooster.
Barry the Rooster. Brilliant.
Barry the Rooster.
Oh my god.
King.
I can just imagine him walking like the edge of glory, like in time to the music, you know what I mean?
He was a sassy rooster. Like, I loved him. It's just the fact that he'd stand all ready for you, like, come on. Lift me up. I'm ready to look upon my subjects.
Oh, brilliant, man. Brilliant. So the last segment I do, which is usually the part where because I like to think that people are listening to this who are of all different levels, but you came from you did your degree in film, and you come from the student background, and you worked your way through, and you got your way in through hustling the way you do. But I think you've certainly learned a lot of things that you can give to a lot of younger people who are trying to break into the industry, considering you got your first job in TV and you were only 21, weren't you, whenever you first started?
Yeah, when I first started. Fresh out of uni.
So this segment is advice of the day with Caitlin. So Caitlin, have you got any resources or tools or anything that could help our listeners? Please do tell me.
Specifically in TV?
TV and film, yeah.
In film. I mean, I did my degree, and then I did a trainee scheme in which I met you. And from that scheme, I met like-minded people. And I have found that over the years of working in the industry, surrounding yourself with good eggs, good people that you can kind of stay connected to, has really helped, because, the world's tough. You'll have challenges. You'll have stuff happen that you might not know how to handle. And having a secure group around you just to kind of check in, and they, like a support network, I guess, I have found really, really helpful. For just any questions or concerns, just checking on people. Most of the time, you guys have good advice for me, and most of the time, it can be, sometimes you can feel like you're on your own, and you're not really. And I think lockdown proved that too, that you stay connected with people, telling people about jobs and opportunities coming up. I found having that network really, really helpful. And when you work on a project, you're going to be working with that person for a good few weeks or months. So being a good egg and finding those good eggs is rewarding, if that's...
Yeah, man, that's great, because I think at the end of the day, it's as much of a lesson in life as it is a lesson for TV and film. But surround yourself with people that inspire you, and being around a strong network of people who care about you. And I think for sure, like, luckily enough, we both started at the same time, so there's never going to be a time where you don't have someone like me or other people to kind of say, I'm having this issue, you're having that issue, because we've all experienced our fair share of problems. And I think the best thing about this industry right now is that if anybody is in a tough situation, all they got to do is ask for a little bit of help, and everyone will do whatever they can to try and help. That's one thing I'll say about Northern Ireland TV industry. We do have that, if nothing else. But that's
nothing else.
Nothing else. I mean, I'm still raging about the rooster, Caitlin. I can't get it out of my mind. That man, that rooster should be at the very highest of the list, leading the charge in pride. But listen, there's nothing I can do about that. One thing I can say is, you've been a great guest, Caitlin, and thank you for coming on. And congrats for getting back into TV. And hopefully you're going to tell people to give me a job, and then I can stop doing this podcast and I can finally do real things. So no, that's
drag you
lie.
in with me.
Yes, drag me in. And yeah, no, of course, I love this podcast. That's just a disclaimer. But
he has.
Yeah, but yes, man, it's great to have you on, and look, man, I hopefully have you on again. But other than that,
100%.
thank you.
Thanks for having me. Cheers.
Not a problem, man. All right, Caitlin. Well, see you later anyway. And now we do the cheesy wave. Bye, like a kid's show. Thank you for listening to the Human Collective podcast. Remember, like and subscribe our YouTube channel and follow us on Spotify for all future podcasts.
The Human Collective. You know it.